Ahead of the G20 summit in Argentina, I've been thinking a lot about America's image and how and if we'll be able to regain the trust and respect of the rest of the world that seems to increasingly disappear every time the world's heads of state meet. President Trump has breathed new life into the phrase America First, which has rattled many skeletons in our country's closets. Skeletons like anti-Semitism, racial inequality, and Japanese internment camps. Winston Churchill once famously said, "Those who fail to learn from history are condemned to repeat it." Today, we have immigrant children who have been separated from their parents, caged in facilities along our southern border. In October, 11 Jewish Americans were gunned down while they worshiped in their synagogue in Squirrel Hill. Do I think societies are capable of learning? Yes, I absolutely do. Unfortunately, I also think that they are very capable of forgetting. If any country knows about learning from the past and restoring its image, it would be Germany. German Chancellor Angela Merkel often recounts how her country rehabilitated its international image following World War II by reconciling with Holocaust victims and openly acknowledging the atrocities Germany committed. She says, quote, "We Germans will never forget the hand of reconciliation that was extended to us after all the suffering that our country had brought to Europe and the war," end quote. Despite the faltering economies of many of their European neighbors, Germany has thrived. It's the world's fourth largest economy today, yet 70 years ago, it lay in absolute ruin. 7 million Germans died during World War II. The infrastructure was completely annihilated, and the systematic murder of 11 million Jews, Russians, Slavs, Poles, homosexuals, and other undesirables by the Nazi regime caused the country to be considered morally bankrupt as well. Yet somehow Germany has become one of the most trusted and influential nations in the world. In fact, in a 2014 BBC World Service poll, Germany ranked first in world popularity. Instead of hiding from or covering up its past, Germany has used sites of Nazi crimes, such as its concentration camps, as learning and teaching tools. It seems as though many Americans and Europeans have forgotten the lessons we learned during World War II and from Adolf Hitler's rise with the Nazi Party. Nationalist movements have been sweeping across the United States and Europe recently. One such example is Great Britain's decision to leave the EU, otherwise known as Brexit, which was motivated, at least in part, due to fear and anger over immigration. The tricky thing about the phrase America First is that it sounds very patriotic, as do many aspects of nationalism. However, letting our fears regarding immigration and global competition run wild can have many repercussions. This can lead to severe decline in both global and national productivity. Appealing to ultra-nationalist and xenophobic feelings is like playing with fire, and that fire is becoming increasingly volatile over the years. The weapons that we have at our disposal today are far more lethal than those we had during the last World War, so the stakes are much higher. Germans remember what it was like the last time that they lost the freedom of their press and the last time that minorities within their population were demonized. As Americans, we must pay attention and learn from Germany's past because we cannot afford to learn those lessons on our own.